A 6-year-old girl has been shot in the head in Valhalla Park on the Cape Flats after being caught in the crossfire during a suspected gang shootout earlier today.
Well, we've heard this morning that a child from Valhalla Park has been shot through the head and sustained gunshot wounds. She is now receiving treatment at one of the local hospitals. But this shooting comes just more than a week an army has been deployed here in the Western Cape. This has raised alarms. We are now speaking to the leader of the Bishop Lavis Crime Prevention Forum, Mr. Graham Lanhurst, who's going to give us their concerns around this particular incident. Mr. Lanhurst, thank you very much for your time and welcome. Sir, just at the back of the army deployment, the shooting seemed to be escalating. Just your reaction to that?
Yeah, first of all, we must say that our thoughts are with the family of that young girl that was shot this morning. We pray that she will pull through, and we trust God that she will pull through. We condemn fiercely what has happened in Valhalla Park. We say to law enforcement agencies, come and deal with the issues within our area. It cannot be a week after the deployment of the army that you have this sort of shooting still in daylight, not even at night, in daylight, where people can run around with guns and do what they want. So we condemn it, and we ask the law enforcement agencies to come into our area and really do what they need to do.
This incident comes at the back of a fresh deployment of the South African National Defence Force for this very reason: uncontrollable crime in the Cape Flats.
Yes, you're absolutely right. What happens is the SANDF comes in and then they close off an entire block. So if you're in, and if you're outside, you cannot come in, and vice versa. And they made a stop at this particular house here, and the gentleman who was here was very verbose with the SAPS. And it seemed like he was very upset about what's going on. Let's see if he's willing to speak to us before we show his face to you on camera. Sir, are you willing to talk to us? Right. Okay. Right. He says they are looking for scollies, which means criminals, and they're looking for guns and drugs, and he says he does not have that. And he was very upset about the police entering his premises. Let's see if we can find out what they're doing a little bit further. That gentleman very, very upset. We're going to see a lot of this in the days and weeks and months to come as the SANDF and the SAPS move in. Of course, how it works is the SANDF secures the area, and then the SAPS can move in and do what they need to do. And Nhlanhla Faso is behind the camera, and we're just following along and see what we can find is going on. As you see, there's a soldier here that's guarding this entrance, if you will, entrance or exit, and the police is moving about in the area, going to various addresses. When we started this morning, the brief that they gave us is that they are going to specific addresses today. They've made several stops along the way. This is just one of the areas where they were deployed to. This is Tafelsig on the Cape Flats, and they're going to a number of areas. Beacon Valley is another one. So Mitchell's Plain, the broader Mitchell's Plain is one of the areas that they're visiting today, a number of other areas as well. Nhlanhla, let's see what we can see this side. This is unfolding before our very eyes. We also don't know what is going to happen. This particular home is the next one to be searched. The SAPS and SANDF members moved inside there now. And on the side of the house, you can also see there's an SANDF member that secures this side. And at the back, there's a SAPS member. So whoever is in the home cannot come out. And that's the purpose of this deployment, is to make it easier for the SAPS to do their job, and that they have security when they go into these areas. You must understand that many of these areas are extremely volatile and very, very, very dangerous, even for SAPS members themselves. A number of them have been killed in the line of duty, working on areas like this, shot and killed, of course, many of them for their firearms. And that's the main purpose of one of the purposes of this operation, of course, is to find illicit, illegal guns, firearms and the like, and then also looking for drugs which is a major issue. Drug abuse, drug use in this area is very, very big. I don't know if you watched a little bit earlier when we spoke to a young man who told us he's 30 years old and he's lost a number of friends as a result of the scourge of gang violence, gangsterism and drug abuse. So my colleague in Lavis at the moment is inside the home that they're busy searching. We don't know, of course, what they will find. We don't know if they will arrest anyone. And we don't know how the day will unfold. So it remains a very dangerous and volatile situation. As you saw, as you just came to us, the gentleman that they were speaking to was very, very agitated about the situation. He did not like it one bit, but nonetheless, the SAPS is pushing forward. Let me see if I can get to my colleague in Lavis. There he is, just backing up a little bit. And they're searching through cupboards, doors inside the home. Let's see if we can step outside in Tlantla. This is a private residence, of course. That does not mean that the people in here are guilty of anything at this stage. It's just being searched. That same gentleman is walking up and down the street as we speak. He is still very, very agitated. He's saying he does not harbor criminals. He does not have guns. He does not have drugs. That's what he made sure. Let's see if we can speak to Mr. Cameron here for a moment. Mr. Cameron, you've been here since they deployed this morning. What is your impression thus far of how it is going?
Yeah, so I mean, so far it's still very early on in the operation, so we'll need to see. I guess in the long term, it is concerning that we've seen that there hasn't been additional capacity created for to ensure that evidence can be processed properly. Enough prosecutors, for example, to make sure that prosecution processes can be not necessarily fast-tracked, but just done properly. Courts and forensic processes are already under pressure, and yeah, we need to make sure that everything is done properly.
Just explain to us, because I don't think many people understand how this process works. The SANDF is just here to secure the area. Will they be able to make arrests as well?
So there are provisions made in the Defence Act for them, according to which they can work. They actually get a certain amount of peace officer status. I don't know the Act off by heart now, but we discussed it in Parliament last week. I think the bigger thing to understand is that they're here to secure the area for the police to then properly be able to conduct their searches. Obviously, the searching, if a SANDF member were to help, is under the supervision of a police member. They can't enter alone and just start searching, etc., or make arrests. So it's really a support function of the police to ensure that they can do their jobs properly.
And you said a little bit earlier you are concerned about the number of SANDF members that was promised versus what was deployed.
Yeah, so I mean, look, you can do a highly effective operation with very low numbers if it's planned properly. I think the problem here is that they indicated, 800 members, soldiers, then it became 547, then this morning we heard it's just over 200. So we're not sure yet. So we need to understand how that budget is being run. It's also important for the soldiers' sake. We need to make sure that they are cared for properly while they are here. One of my colleagues already indicated that they don't have the resources that they need at the bases where they are meant to be staying. So it is challenging. We've also heard that there's a potential fuel shortage. So these are all things that we need to go and confirm after today and then go back to the oversight process and ensure that it's fixed as this operation continues.
Thank you very much. Police Oversight Committee member there, Mr. Cameron, speaking to us on his impressions thus far. Like he said, it's very early days. They just started this morning with official operations. And as you can see in the back there's a vehicle in Lavis. Will show you in the back. The vehicle is parked there. So this block effectively is cordoned off. And the same gentleman and the lady who stays there are still very much agitated about the situation. People are now shouting at each other. And we don't know if it's about the deployment of the SANDF or if they are arguing amongst themselves about the situation in the area. We do know, of course, that Tafelsig is a hotbed of gang activity, crime, violent crime, yes, and of course substance abuse and the selling of drugs and the like. So there's certainly much work that lies ahead here for the SANDF and the SAPS and also the Metro Police of the city of Cape Town. Let's maybe see if we can engage the lady in the green if she's willing to speak to us. Let me try. She's showing. Ma'am, good afternoon. We're live on SABC News. How do you feel about the deployment of...
Baie upset, want ons hou nie direk so goed as aan nie. Ek is 'n Muslim. Daai kan met hulle uitgeskik agter. Wat een en hy's 22, hy's 'n mentelaar person. Hulle kap 'n dyk vrou se deure agter. Hy klonkies nog eens 8 jaar oud en hy siekelik. Is hy reggie? Ek het dit so losie.
Wat gaan jy doen?
Ek weet wat gaan ek gaan te sê. Ek gaan weer stap af vitamin. Daai kan agter siekelik. Hy siekelik sy man het net 10 minute weg sy.
Let me just quickly update you there. She says the SAPS broke into the home. They kicked down a door and they say the young man that they were busy with in the back is 22 years old. And there's no drugs or guns on the premises, according to her, saying that she's not going to leave it there. They feel it's unfair what's happening to them. She also made certain to say that she's a Muslim woman and they live honestly. Let's hear from this lady in the purple gown. If she's sorry, young man, they're willing to speak.
Toya the school maar smoke op 54 Matapos. Daai die leader.
Sê vir my mevrou, weet julle waar die mense is wat die dwelms en die guns het?
En Matapos, hulle bombo. Daar by Park, die power station. Hulle staan nag en nag smoke aan die aande. Ek staan by 55 Matapos met die gunne. En die aande, daai is sy skool maar. Toya, so skool maar, Rachel.
Well, this lady over here, she's saying some names there of the people that carry guns, according to her, that hide the guns, that use the guns, that smuggle them at night. So this is certainly something that will agitate a lot of people, as you can imagine. And certainly this household here was highly upset by the arrival